The story begins with a young boy named Charlie. Not long ago, he lost both of his parents in a tragic accident, and since then, his life has completely changed. Lonely and heartbroken, he moves in with his grandmother, a warm, caring woman who loves him dearly and does everything she can to comfort him. Still, no matter how much love she shows, Charlie struggles to adjust. He misses his parents every single day, and the sadness weighs heavily on him. Hoping to bring a little light back into his world, Grandma decides to surprise him with a pet. She brings home a small mouse, and from the moment Charlie sees it, his face lights up. He names the mouse Daisy, and she quickly becomes his best friend. Charlie spends nearly all his time with Daisy, talking to her, playing with her, and watching her run in her little wheel. With a smile, he often tells his grandmother, "Grandma, mice have such a wonderful life. They run on their wheels and play in their nests all day." For the first time in a while, he feels some joy again. But while Charlie is trying to rebuild his happiness, something dark begins to stir around him. One day, as he plays with Daisy in his room, an eerie figure lurks outside his window. It is a woman with a strange and unsettling stare, and we soon realize she is no ordinary woman. She is a witch. Not long after this, Charlie's grandmother suddenly falls ill. Thankfully, she recovers quickly, and to get some fresh air, she suggests the two of them take a trip into town. They visit a large, fancy store to do a bit of shopping, and for a brief moment, Charlie drifts away from his grandmother. That's when a lady approaches him. It is the same witch who had been watching him earlier. With a sweet but almost hypnotic tone, she offers him a chocolate bar. "Come here, sweet child," she says, her voice wrapping around him like a spell. At her side slithers a snake, adding to her strange, threatening presence. Charlie, caught under her trance, starts to move closer. Just then, Grandma calls out his name from across the store. Her voice snaps him back to reality, and Charlie quickly runs to her side. The witch, realizing her plan has failed, slips away and disappears before Grandma can notice her. Later, when they return home, Charlie tells his grandmother about the strange encounter. "Grandma, that lady in the store was talking to me in such a weird way. She gave me chocolate and told me to listen to her. And she even had a snake with her." Grandma listens carefully, and then explains with a serious tone, "My dear boy, that was no ordinary woman. She was a witch. This is why I always tell you never to take candy from strangers. You never know what they may have put inside it." Grandma looks at Charlie with deep concern and says, "My dear, if that woman was truly a witch, she wasn't just giving you candy. She was trying to trap you." Then she leans closer and decides to share a story from her own childhood. "When I was about 10 years old, I had a best friend. One day, we were walking together when she suddenly wandered off. I saw a strange woman offering her a piece of chocolate. That woman was no ordinary stranger. She was the Grand High Witch herself. I managed to grab my friend and we ran home. But the next morning, while my mother was braiding my hair, I saw something horrifying. My best friend transformed right before my eyes into a chicken. The magic had worked its way through her, probably from that chocolate. From that day on, I knew witches were real, and I've spent my whole life avoiding them. You must do the same. Never accept anything from them, and if you ever see one, you come straight to me." Her words make Charlie uneasy, and Grandma makes a sudden decision. "We need to leave this house," she says firmly. "Now that witches have noticed you, it isn't safe here anymore. They always look for lonely children first." She quickly makes a call to an old friend, the manager of a luxurious 5-star hotel not far from their home. The manager, being kind-hearted, agrees to help and arranges a small room for them. Without wasting time, Charlie and his grandmother pack their things and move into the hotel, hoping they'll be safe there. But fate has other plans. Shortly after they arrive, a large group of women check into the same hotel. At first, they seem glamorous, dressed in fashionable, expensive clothes. But these women are no ordinary guests, they are witches. They have come together for a secret meeting, led by none other than the Grand High Witch. She meets the hotel manager and, with a sly, intimidating tone, tells him, "You know who we are." She demands a private ballroom for their gathering, and he has no choice but to agree. Later that night, as the rain falls outside their hotel window, Charlie talks quietly with his grandmother. He asks nervously, "Grandma, what do witches really look like?" She answers seriously, "My boy, their fingers are unusually long and they end in sharp claw-like nails. That is one way you can always recognize them. That is why they hide their hands with gloves, and their hair isn't real. Their actual hair is thin, brittle, and ugly, so they cover it with wigs and big fancy hats. That's why you must always look carefully. Witches live among us, disguised as ordinary women." Her words send shivers down Charlie's spine, and the storm raging outside the hotel makes everything feel even more terrifying. The next morning, Charlie grows restless. To distract himself, he decides to take Daisy, his beloved mouse, to one of the hotel's large, empty halls so she can run and play. He sets her down and watches her scamper around. But before long, his heart nearly stops. The hall doors swing open and the entire group of witches streams inside. They are here for their secret meeting, led by the Grand High Witch herself. What the witches don't realize is that Charlie, curious and hidden out of sight, overhears everything. From his hiding spot, he listens as the Grand High Witch reveals their horrifying plan. They want to rid the world of children once and for all. Their method is simple but cruel. They will use a special enchanted chocolate. Any child who eats even a single piece will transform into an animal. With cold conviction, the Grand High Witch declares, "All children are rude and filthy. None of them deserve to live. We don't have time to pick and choose the badly behaved ones. We will target them all." The Grand High Witch steps forward, and her nose twitches. She has an incredible sense of smell, sharper than any animal, and she immediately detects the scent of a child. Her head jerks from side to side, her nostrils flaring, and her grotesque face contorts as she sniffs the air. She prowls around the stage, sniffing closer and closer, but no matter how much she inhales, she cannot see him. Finally, she lets out a frustrated hiss and turns her attention back to the gathering. The witches all sit, and the Grand High Witch produces a small bottle, glowing faintly in her hand. With chilling excitement, she tells them, "This potion will rid the world of children forever. Just a single drop mixed into chocolate or candy, and any child who eats it will be transformed into an animal." Her words fill the room with gasps and wicked smiles. But then, her nose twitches again. She smells Charlie. The scent is too strong to ignore. This time she storms straight to the stage, her eyes narrowing. With a furious snarl, she kicks over the screen, and there he is, Charlie Bolts. Before she can grab him, he scrambles into a small ventilation shaft behind the stage, disappearing into the wall. The Grand High Witch sees him for only a moment before he vanishes. Just as she is about to order the witches to drag him out, the doors creak open again. A plump, cheerful boy wanders in, holding his stomach as if looking for food. His name is Bruno. The witches instantly shift their attention to him. The Grand High Witch tempts him with a chocolate bar, sweetly promising it just for him. Bruno doesn't hesitate. He unwraps it and takes a big bite. But the chocolate has already been laced with the potion. Within seconds, his body twists and shrinks, and right before their eyes, he transforms into a plump little mouse. The witches shriek and leap onto chairs, their glamour fading as their fear of mice overtakes them. In their panic, they close in on poor Bruno, ready to crush him beneath their sharp heels. Just then, Daisy bursts out from the ventilation shaft, darting across the floor. In a daring move, she snatches Bruno up and races away to safety. But in that desperate moment, she makes a critical mistake. Her sudden appearance exposes Charlie's hiding spot. The Grand High Witch's eyes lock onto him. With frightening speed, she drags him out, pinning him down with her claw-like hands. A cruel, twisted smile spreads across her face as she takes the tiny glowing bottle and lets a single drop of the potion fall into his ear. Charlie's body jerks violently as the magic surges through him. A sharp, unbearable pain rushes across every inch of his body, and he begins to shrink. His clothes collapse into a heap on the floor as his hands, his face, and his entire body twist and change. Within seconds, Charlie has transformed, no longer a boy, but a mouse, just like Bruno. Now there are 3 mice scurrying across the hall: Charlie, Bruno, and Daisy. But in the chaos of their escape, Daisy, Charlie's pet mouse, reveals the full truth. She wasn't always a mouse. She was once a little girl. A witch had given her a piece of chocolate long ago, which transformed her into the mouse Charlie found. Now, the 3 mice, Charlie, Bruno, and Daisy, form a strong friendship. They are united by their shared fate and make a promise to get revenge on the witches who did this to them. Charlie leads the other 2 mice back to his grandmother's hotel room. He manages to communicate to her what has happened, and she is heartbroken, but filled with a fierce determination. She declares, "They turned my boy into a mouse? I will make them pay for this." Charlie then tells his grandmother a crucial piece of information. He explains that the witch's room is directly below theirs, and their balcony is visible. This gives his grandmother a brilliant idea. She is knitting a stocking and decides to use it as a lift. She tells the mouse boys, "I will lower you down in this stocking to their balcony. You must sneak in, steal the potion, and bring it back to me. Then I can use it to turn you back into humans." They put the plan into action. The grandmother carefully lowers Charlie and the stocking down to the witch's balcony. Charlie is terrified, but he sees that the room is empty. He bravely scurries inside, finds the glowing bottle of potion, and brings it back to the stocking. His grandmother begins to pull him up, but just then, Grand High Witch returns and sees the stocking moving. She grabs it and holds on tight. Charlie's grandmother, thinking quickly, calls down, "Please let go. I was knitting that stocking, and it fell. I am just pulling it back up." The witch is suspicious and is about to investigate the stocking herself when the hotel manager suddenly appears. Distracted by his presence, the witch lets go, and the grandmother safely pulls Charlie and the precious potion back into her room. Now, with the potion in her hands, the grandmother is filled with hope. She pours some onto a plate and lets each of the 3 mice drink it, expecting them to transform back into children. But nothing happens. They are devastated to realize the terrible truth. The potion only works one way. It can turn children into animals, but it cannot turn animals back into children. Their transformation is permanent. Faced with this heartbreaking reality, Charlie comes up with a new, even more daring plan. He says, "Grandma, if we can't become human again, why don't we use this potion on the witches? You can pour it into the soup they are going to have for dinner tonight. Since you are an adult, you can get close to the kitchen." His grandmother loves the idea and exclaims, "What a brilliant plan, my boy." She immediately puts the 3 mice and the bottle of potion into her handbag and heads straight for the hotel kitchen, where a large tureen of soup is being prepared for the witch's dinner. While the cooks are distracted, Charlie sneaks the entire bottle of the magical potion into the soup and stirs it in. However, as they is doing this, the hotel manager spots grandmother near the kitchen. He is angry and says to her, "Are those your mice? You should not bring pets into the kitchen. This is very unhygienic." The grandmother acts innocent and says, "Mice? I don't have any mice." She had hidden the mice in a corner of her bag. The manager searches her bag and her room but finds nothing, leaving him feeling very embarrassed and apologetic. The grandmother, quick on her feet, takes advantage of the moment. She raises her voice in anger, scolding him. "How dare you search my belongings and insult me like this? I will file a complaint against you, and you can be sure the police will hear of this. Your hotel will be shut down for such disrespect." The manager, now pale and trembling, bows and apologizes profusely. He begs her forgiveness again and again, promising to make it up to her. In desperation, he even offers her a complimentary meal from the hotel's finest kitchen. The grandmother, hiding a sly smile, accepts the offer. She not only completes her secret mission, but also gains a free dinner as a reward. Meanwhile, the plan is now in motion, and the poisoned soup is served to the unsuspecting witches. The grandmother and the mice watch carefully from their hiding place. This twist works perfectly in their favor, because only the witches will taste the soup. No other guests will be harmed. The witches begin to eat, slurping greedily. At first everything is calm, then suddenly chaos erupts. One by one, the witches start to twitch and convulse, their bodies shrinking rapidly. Their expensive gowns collapse onto the floor as their forms wither away, leaving behind small, squeaking mice scurrying wildly across the polished floor. The once glamorous dining hall is transformed into a scene of total madness. The grandmother sits back and watches, her face full of satisfaction. At last, justice has been served. The hotel staff, horrified by what they see as a terrifying infestation, rush forward with brooms, sticks, and pans to smash the vermin. They don't realize these are witches, but in the middle of all the chaos, one witch still stands untouched, the most dangerous of them all, the Grand High Witch herself. She hasn't tasted the soup yet and remains in her human form, completely unaware of what has just happened to her entire army. Meanwhile, grandmother sneaks toward her room to destroy the remaining potion bottles. As she gathers them up, the Grand High Witch suddenly appears, her eyes blazing with fury. In an instant, she realizes that it was them, the old woman and the mice, who caused this catastrophe. Enraged, she stretches her long, clawed arms toward grandmother, ready to strike. Grandmother freezes, but Charlie, Bruno, and Daisy spring into action. As the witch steps closer to the table, Bruno and Daisy drag a mousetrap into position. Just as she reaches forward, they snap it shut on her foot. The Grand High Witch lets out a blood-curdling scream, staggering back in shock and pain. Seizing the moment, Bruno topples a full bottle of the glowing potion straight into her open mouth. She tries to spit it out, but it's too late. Instantly, the transformation begins. Her tall frame collapses, her arms and legs shrivel, and her furious face twists into something grotesque and monstrous. She shrinks into a hideous mouse, larger than the others but just as vulnerable. The once feared Grand High Witch now squeaks helplessly on the floor, scrambling to escape. The grandmother, calm and collected, steps forward and places a glass jar over her. trapping her completely. She leans down, staring at the creature that once terrorized so many children. Then, with a firm voice, she says, "Your reign of fear ends here." To make sure the witch never harms anyone again, the grandmother calls for the hotel's cat. She sets the jar down in front of it, and within moments, the cat's instincts take over. The fate of the Grand High Witch is sealed once and for all. With the danger finally over, the grandmother gathers her handbag and carefully places Charlie, Bruno, and Daisy inside. She leaves the hotel without looking back. For the first time in a long while, she feels safe, and her heart is filled with relief. The witches are no more. Meanwhile, Bruno's parents continue searching desperately for their missing son. His mother, always self-absorbed and shallow, has little patience left. When Bruno the mouse scurries up to her and tries to communicate, squeaking and waving his paws, she recoils in disgust. She screams and pulls away, saying, "Take it away! I don't want a filthy mouse near me!" Her rejection stings, but Bruno realizes something important in that moment. He says quietly to Charlie and Daisy, "It's fine. I don't need her. I have my real friends now. I'm better off without her." And so the grandmother takes the three mice, Charlie, Bruno, and Daisy, home with her. In her loving care, they have food, warmth, and safety. Together, they live a new life, free from fear and filled with friendship. The story closes on this heartwarming note, with the grandmother and her three little mice living happily together, proving that family is not defined by form, but by love, loyalty, and the bonds we choose to keep. On IMDb, this movie was rated by 50,000 people and has an average rating of 5.4. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like this video and subscribe to this channel for more interesting videos. See you in the next one.